Hello, how are you Tutu?
Hello, Fahma. I feel great, thanks.
Well, happy to hear that. Do you know that the last month in the 9th December is International Anti-Corruption Day?
I didn't have a clue about this, but now I know, and thanks to you.
It's okay Tutu. I have heard that one of the reports from the United Nations General Assembly Special Session on Corruption gave a statement that said the Indonesian government fails to prove its anti-corruption commitment among the provinces. Do you know about it?
Really? I honestly don't know about the report yet, but let me search it on Google for a minute.
Okay.
What you have said is true. I found that the world now take interest in our nation anti-corruption commitment. It's such a big news, but is it truly happening just now? I mean that it's not a secret anymore that our government is not responsive to corruption cases.
Yeah, I was really shocked when I heard this report. And it is sad when the government blandly ignores civil society's calls to address grand corruption so much and they refuse to even acknowledge it. And I think all of this neglect behavior can have a bad impact on the economic conditions during post-pandemic.
That's right. This action affect our economy greatly, not only for our nation economic but for other sectors as well. Moreover, I think that the latest case of corruption is the corruption of natural disaster funds. I mean, I cannot believe that some irresponsible people have a heart to do something so low like curb these funds and worse, our government just punishes them for a short period of time.
Yeah, that's true. I think that the law of these criminals isn't fair enough. And as we hear that the law is just incisive for the low class and sometimes the democratic politics weren't carried out well.
I definitely agree with you. Our government has had a problem with this kind of case for years. History has recorded it well. Do you know that corruption has spread in the government ever since the era of President Sukarno and Suharto? Over time, corruption cases have increased sharply.
Yeah, you are definitely right. I think that the histories of our country's corruption cases never decrease. The biggest corruption in Jokowi's period was Jiwasraya. I think that the judge on this case hasn't appeared until now. So I don't know that the case is clear or what do you think about it?
In my opinion, the judge maybe could not provide clarity which showed that the transparency of the result investigation was a serious problem. Moreover, the government also seemed to turn away by leading the public to pay attention to other topics such as handling COVID-19, which has not even exploded at that time.
That's true. But don't you think that the corruption culture will be nourished? Because I think at the election event, most citizens are willing to get the money election from each candidate, and they will be choose the candidate who give them the highest nominal number of money.
I'm not quite sure about it, but I wish that these crimes will become soon.
Yeah, that's wishes for this kind of criminal, and I hope this criminal will be disappear as soon as possible. And I think that the most vulnerable class is the poor family because they receive the hardest hit of bribery that they are facing in their society.
Well, I got it, but why are you so convinced about it?
Yes, because one of the parliament members' corruptions is likely to increase the level of poverty. Another reason it is can reduce the income of the lower class. And I think that poverty and corruption have a correlation in its ratio.
Well, that's right. The higher the case of corruption, the higher the social inequality rate. And the richer are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer.
That's it. And in other words, I think that the effect of corruption is hitting economic stability. Do you agree with my statement?
I also agree with you on this. Corruption causes a country's social crisis and, of course, undermines economic stability.
You're correct. I'm in favor of your opinion. This kind of criminal could lead to a crisis in the country. Do you know other corruption cases that happened in our country?
I do. One of the corruption cases that is quite concerning is the case of procuring funds of 15,000 masks in Banten, which cost the state around 1.6 billion rupiahs.
Ah, yeah. I think that is one of the biggest corruptions that I have heard too. And as far as I know, these corruptions also influence the growth and government expenditures. On the other hand, the evidence of our political corruptions in Indonesia can be seen in the high number of political corruption that have been reported year by year.
I think that the high number of corruption cases in our country may be due to the inadequate quality of politicians. And in addition, we also know that there is a lack of transparency. For example, when officials refuse to report the source and amount of their wealth.
I think so. But do you believe that in corruptions against humanity?
Certainly, I do. I believe that corruption brings a country to social inequality that destroys humanities. This action must be stopped immediately.
Yes, makes sense. I think as a youth, we have our responsibilities and we have to play a role to fight against corruption in our country, right?
Yes, you are right. The youth generation must be a pioneer in fighting corruption. So, in your opinion, how can we stop corruption?
I think there are many ways to fight and stop corruption cases. However, in my opinion, there are many anti-corruption actions that are less effective and too ordinary. Or maybe you have other unique ideas to be a means to stop corruption cases in our country. Because I think many things have been done and many corruption acts have not been resolved. Completely, it seems that creating a petitions and using existing technology to give our opinion to evaluate the government's performance could be one the effective way that we can perform it as a youth.
Yep, from my point of view, one way to stop corruption is to monitor the progress of corruption cases. For instance, we can provide a complaint platform on a website that specifically helps document and resolve these cases in real time.
Well, I will like that. We have same opinion. But wait, I feel that this kind of method is uncertain. Are you sure that using the platform or website will be effective in tackling corruption in our country?
Sure that this method is quite effective. In fact, this method has been applied in other countries. For example, European countries such as Greece and Hungary that use the iPad Bribe website.
Okay, are you sure that this kind of website such as iPad Bribe, right, can be implemented in our country?
Yeah, although it requires a long process, I believe that we can implement it in the future.
Okay, I think that we should also give our focus to improve our attitude to always have a mindset that, corruption is wrong. And I think we should start developing the technology, right?
Right, definitely.